Hi everyone, and welcome to moMENtum on WomenTalk Radio. Over the past few years, of course, if you've been following us, you know that we are actually a video program, and recently we've also ventured into podcasts. We have Her Story as part of WomenTalk Radio as well. But also, we've always met a lot of men, and good men along the way, that we've included in this conversation about women's empowerment. And so this show, this new podcast program, moMENtum, is actually kind of a little bit of a dedication to the amazing men that we've met along the way who have been very supportive of women's empowerment. Now, I'm very, very honored in our inaugural podcast episode to have with me Wai Teik. Wai Teik is an amazing photographer. He has had 20 years of commercial fashion, you name it, he's got it, photography behind his belt. And I really can't wait to talk to him. Thank you so much, Wai Teik, for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Now, this is your 20th year of being here. I mean, of being a photographer, right?
Yes.
And you've obviously had an amazing body of work, from commercial fashion. I mean, basically anything. I've even seen you photographing somebody from who invented something for NASA or worked with NASA or something like that.
Yes, that is for Virgin.
Yes,
Virgin.
For Virgin, right?
Interestingly, that shot was actually done remotely.
Right.
Virgin UK contacted me, and the professor was based in Singapore. So I had to shoot him here. Yeah, using the lighting design that they actually emailed me over from UK.
Wow.
Yeah, so we actually worked remotely for that shoot. Yeah.
Wow, very impressive. I mean, your work definitely, and we can talk about a little bit more about that later. But
sure.
I just wanted to ask you, Wai Teik, what got you interested in photography, like in the first place, right? How do you actually get started?
I think what sparked off my interest was the fact that my late father, he passed me a very old camera, very good camera, the Canon AE1, and that's how everything got started. It was a very traditional analog film camera, and it started from there.
Wow, so that's so it kind of your father started you with a passion of photography.
Yes.
Well, obviously a lot of things have changed from analog to digital now, right?
Yes.
But somehow analog still captures that. It's just a different kind of...
This is a very different feeling. The work process is very different. You have to be very precise. You have to be... you can't correct it. How should I say? If let's say you overexposed it, that's it.
That's it, right? But I guess being in the era of analog as well, I mean, with everything, even with music, right?
Yes.
Previously, you just got to record, right? You can't all right, let's cut it together. It's just let's go for that take, right?
Exactly.
And it wasn't easy, right? And I'm sure it trained you as well, and that's a really good foundation to have.
Yes, I agree. So the how you hone your skills, how you craft it is a lot more different compared to now. Where now it's almost like it's a digital. Oh, okay, let's reshoot it.
Yeah, let's just take 500 shots.
Exactly, but in those days it's very different. You have to make sure the lighting is correct, the hair and makeup is correct, and with the Polaroid you tear it, you wait for 2 minutes for it to pop up, and then it's wrong.
I remember a little bit of that, going for shoots and everybody. Okay, let's wait for the Polaroid to let's wait for the test shot, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But what did that train you to do, though? I mean, what did that foundation? Because I mean, we so many things have changed, right, in our world. But I mean, foundation is still very important, like we talked about. What did that train you to do?
I think it trained the technical aspects of photography. And the fact that you have to get it right in that one shot. It's not like these days, right? I've met people who there's something there, it's all right, we will touch it up. There is something in the background, we'll touch it up. When you can actually remove it there and then. So the attitude is very different. It's about, let's do it in post-production. Whereas you save a lot of cost.
Let's fix it in post.
Yes, they fix it in post. Which to me, it's a very, I wouldn't say lazy, I would say it's a very blasé kind of attitude. Whereas it should be done everything on the spot. Yeah.
Now this year also you're celebrating your 20th year, and there's an amazing exhibition that you have, which I want to talk about later. But just before that, I mean, when we created this new program, right, we thought about also, how men through their work, right, they are inevitably, whether directly or indirectly, kind of reinforcing and maybe supporting women's empowerment. Now I know you do that even without realizing it, because as a photographer and as a really good one, a lot of your work, and even when I see a lot of your work, it's always about women in very strong positions, right? Like when I look at your work, I don't feel like women are being disempowered in any way.
Yes.
And you always focus on very strong gestures, very strong looks,
Yes.
right? And very strong positions. So
Correct.
why is that so important to you?
I think it is it's innate in me that I respect women, and I don't want to shoot them in any compromising position. I don't want them to look like they are in any vulnerable position. They could be pensive, in a very thinking kind of a mood, and I want them to be portrayed as very intelligent. That's how I see women, and that's how I want my work to be seen as well.
Why is that so important to you? Why do you think that it's so important to represent your work? I mean, a lot of times you shoot women, right, in your photography. Why do you think it's so important for you to have your work represented in this way?
I feel that there's a lot of work out there that I think has shown the disrespect to women, and that's something that I don't agree with. And it's something that I would like to change the perspective, slowly but surely. But then again, there's always different people have different opinions, but that is how I feel actually. Yeah.
But I guess it's like respecting, kind of different kinds of work. But at the same time, I guess what you're saying is that you want to see photography or photographers as being able to be empowering.
Exactly.
Right? Because we've heard a lot of horror stories as well, right? In the industry, in the fashion industry,
Yes.
right? And how people feel bullied or
Yes.
women feel bullied.
In fact, when I shoot female models or male models for that instance, I would ask them, is it all right if I move this garment? Is it all right if I move your shoe? I will ask first, instead of just touching them or adjusting them. I think it is out of respect. I treat them as a fellow human being. They are not just an ingredient, a component. Some people treat them as just like a blank canvas, and then treat them not in a very respectful manner.
Do you think that's something that's very common in the fashion industry? I mean, you've seen this.
I've seen it. I've seen how they've made models cry. They made them kneel there for like hours.
Oh, dear, that's horrible. Kneel there?
Yeah. They're freezing cold, water being splashed. I said, can we turn off the aircon? Oh, they said no. I was like, huh? And then, can we use warm water instead? No, we use ice water because they want the effect.
Oh, dear. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, right? Because you see the glamorous finished product, right?
Exactly.
In the magazine, on a fashion show, on the runway.
It's very glitzy on the surface. But behind the scene, I do see models crying on the phones, talking on the phones to the loved ones, because they usually are not from here. They're usually from Eastern Europe, or let's say Brazil. So they're really far away, and they're very young. Most of them are like 16 to 18 years old.
Wow.
So it's very important to let them feel that, no, you are being taken care of. It's comfortable, and it's something that I want to work with them so that they can bring out the best and not back orders, and make sure that they do what I want. I think it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah. And it is though. I mean, like I said, not a lot of people see the behind the scenes.
Yes.
Right? I mean, when you fashion shoots and all that, like we always see the glitzy magazines, like you say, and what happens on the runway.
Exactly.
But there's a lot on the industry. And interesting, you say you are trying to change that. And I do believe though, you're right? I mean, because you are very respected, and one person can make that difference, right? How do you go about like trying to encourage, kind of, I would say, the ethical way when it comes to photography?
I would say it comes from me being as a photographer. Usually I'll lead the team, and usually when I work with the whole team, I'll usually brief them and ask for ideas, like the hair and makeup artist and the stylist as a team. So they will know from the tone, right from the beginning, it's a very collaborative, very approachable kind of attitude. It is not like, one man show, no, you do this. No. I would say, how about we try this? Then they suggest, also, no, it doesn't work. Sometimes you need to look at the overall picture. Someone needs to be in control, but you need to ask for opinions as well. So from there, they know that, okay, it's, if I'm not comfortable with something, I always ask them, are you comfortable with this?
That's great.
If you're not, it's fine. Sometimes you do semi-nude shots. In the shots, it look like they're semi-nude, or they look like they're nude, but actually they're not. But I'll ask them, this is the final result. I give them a reference. Are you comfortable? If they're not, let's don't do it. I'll have to make sure they're comfortable. And usually for semi-nude shot, I'll make sure they're covered. But ironically, sometimes they'll just take everything off.
Wow.
I said,
okay.
hang on. I said there are people walking around.
So even then you protect them, which is good, right?
No, because some now they don't mind, but I say I don't want to be mistaken. Either if someone walks in and sees that.
Right.
I said, no, look, you better get yourself covered up.
Yeah. No, that's good though, because you're kind of like the first line of defense.
Yes.
Right? When you walk into the shoot, the photographer controls the set, right?
I don't want to be mistaken for like, oh, why is she in this position? Why is she in that state?
Yeah, right. Because some of them, they don't realize. They think, I have to work, so,
Yeah, so some of them are very liberal, too liberal until I'm like, no, look here, you need to cover up when you're walking around.
But that's good though. I mean, I really appreciate that, because you are, like I said, you control the set and you are kind of protecting that person,
yes.
right? And which I really respect. So, I hope that people who are listening out also interested in fashion photography will take your advice. Very important, something that we believe in as well.
Yes.
We're going to take a short break, but when we come back after the break, we're going to talk to Wai Teik a little bit more about his amazing 20th kind of anniversary celebration exhibition offerings, and he's going to tell us more about that.
Sure, thank you.
So we're back with Wai Teik. He's a very famous photographer in Singapore for the past 20 years. He's been in this industry. We've just talked to him a little bit about how he got into photography and why he thinks it's important to empower women through his photography as well. Now, Wai Teik, you have, to celebrate 20 years of being in the industry, you have this amazing exhibition called Offerings, and it's actually won bronze at the One Island Photography Awards.
Yes.
Right? And in 2015. And
yes.
Now this... it's a very interesting exhibition, right? It's almost, and what I like about it is that you are using your strength in photography, in fashion photography especially, to talk about a very interesting heritage in Singapore, right? Relating to the Qing Ming festival. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the idea about Qing Ming? Maybe some of our listeners are listening in, not sure what that is about, and how did this idea come about?
Qing Ming is actually falls on the 5th of April, which is the opening of my exhibition. I deliberately picked that day. It's actually the day where you venerate your dearly departed. You actually fold and burn incense paper, and that is the premise of my exhibition.
What is the significance of burning the incense paper for your...
It is believed that when you burn, the deceased or your dearly departed will get the money that they want. So it's a very interesting concept. And as my mom, when she does it, and when she did it all along these years, we don't question. We just do. We just fold. We burn.
Yeah, I do that with my mom's side of the family as well, because my mom is Teochew.
Yeah.
So my grandmother is still a Taoist.
Yes.
So you do that, right? You fold the paper and then you burn it.
You don't question. You don't ask like, are you sure they're getting it, or who's getting it? You just do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a form of respect, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
But I see this getting lost. Like on the opening, I spoke to 2 young girls. They came. They were totally clueless about what this Qing Ming is about. They had no idea. So I feel that I need to document this intangible cultural heritage of ours. I feel that it is getting lost. If I don't do something about it, no one will remember it.
It's like the significance of it, right?
Exactly.
I mean, and the whole ritual. Do you feel we are kind of, losing this tradition?
We are definitely
or
losing it.
The significance?
Yes, I don't see the next generation doing it at all. Maybe our generation, but the next, I'm not sure. They will see it. Is it necessary? Is it good for the environment? As it is, some temples have already stopped the burning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because of that? Because
of environmental issues.
Oh, right.
Yes, I think, I'm not sure. I think Qing Ming Sang just recently announced no burning because it has affected the residents.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, I mean, I guess in Singapore, we stay in very close quarters.
Exactly.
Sometimes to temples as well. And when there's a lot of burning, it kind of rises.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
But we used to tolerate this a long time ago.
Exactly.
Right? We used to tolerate a lot of this a long time ago. And there were, I guess, designated burning spots, right? For people who have like passed on, and we want to kind of remember them and respect them, right?
Exactly.
And we do this a lot also during the Hungry Ghost Festival, right? We burn in those bins and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, but why? It's so interesting though. I mean, why was it so important to you to say, I want to keep this tradition alive and I'm going to do a photograph exhibition on it? Like, how did you kind of make that connection, and why did you say like, is so important to you to keep that tradition alive?
I've always been intrigued by all these customs, all this Chinese tradition. In my line of work, fashion and commercial, no one will touch on this. It's too taboo.
Ah, yes. It is taboo in general, right?
Very taboo. Even some people came to my exhibition, they were like, oh, I just realized what is this about. So, it is a very taboo subject. And I want to invite conversation. I want people to debate. I think that's the whole idea, how art is about. And everyone sees it differently. Everyone comes to me and they see something different, some of them which I've not seen. So it's interesting, and that's what art is about.
Now, in the photos are very powerful. It is. Can you describe a little bit for our listeners as well? I mean, because you see a woman in the photo,
Exactly.
and she has this kind of bamboo paper sort of things around her, right?
Exactly.
Can you describe to us the inspiration for this and why you chose this particular portrayal?
Sure. In particular, because this program is about women empowerment, I want to bring up one point. In some of the series, you see, because it is about burning of the paper, right? And she herself looked like she became the paper effigy, being burnt.
Right.
You remember Joan of Arc?
Yes.
She was burned at a stake.
Yes.
So I would see something like a martyrdom. I would see that she is sacrificial. And to me, that's very powerful. She's seen as a heroine as well. So there are many layers to the exhibition. And the treatment to me was, if you remember, if you have seen Metropolis by Fritz Lang, a 1927 film, a black and white
I haven't
film.
seen that.
Yeah. So the treatment is Metropolis meets Cubism. That's the treatment of the photographs. But then you see a lot of layers, like you see her being burned. And to me, that is really reminiscent of Joan of Arc. And I want to bring that up because it's about women empowerment.
Wow, very, very powerful, obviously, the image, right?
Yes.
I mean, it also, in traditionally, women are seen as the Pontianak, the ghost, the scariest ghosts are always the women, right? I mean, it's always the...
True, and that is the reason why, I could have used a male model. I don't think it would have worked that much because I feel that it needs to be a bit more feminine, a bit soft. She is vulnerable yet strong. I want that to come across. Yeah.
But what are some of the reactions that you've gotten from people with regards to offerings, this exhibition? I mean, even the word offerings.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's like that's what you offer up.
Yes. I wanted to call it what it is because it is offerings. As it's exactly what we do is offerings to the deceased. Yeah.
How difficult was it for you to kind of do this series of photographs? I mean, what did it involve?
Honestly speaking, assembling the team, because I've been 20 years in the industry, and to me, it's accumulation of my past experiences, working with the best people, the best hairstylists, best makeup artists, best retoucher, and best wardrobe stylist. The wardrobe stylist made the sculptures for me, paper sculptures for me. So there's not a stitch of cloth.
Wow.
Not a stitch, it's all paper sculptures. Yeah.
Wow.
So I would say it's the 20 years of my experience presented. Hopefully this is one of my best work so far. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is, I see it as, yeah.
It's very impressive.
I think in terms of subject matter, it is my most daring, most taboo, I would say. Yeah.
What do you hope that people will take away, right? I mean, looking at this very powerful exhibition, what do you hope that people will walk away thinking or feeling, or even when they're looking? What are you hoping for?
As I age, right, I feel that I'm confronting death, not just me, but my loved ones. I am in the stage where, this year I think I have three friends who passed away. So, yeah,
it becomes real, right?
Yeah, it becomes real, and it becomes more, ironically, a bit more jaded, a bit more, you don't feel so impactful. So it's the confrontational of death, and I feel that a lot of people are very scared of. And to me, this is right in the face.
Well, and yeah, you're right. It is kind of something that it's quite interesting because when you have to look at these sculptures, it's like you've got to confront it, right? And and especially in Asia or maybe Singapore as well, it's a very taboo
It
subject.
is very
Death, like you
taboo.
don't talk about it, right? You don't
Exactly.
talk about it. You don't ask questions.
Yes.
You don't even when you come home from wakes and funerals, there are certain rituals. You've got
Yes.
to wash your face
With the flowers.
right? You've got to shower.
Yes.
You've been taught since young.
Yes.
So it's a very, very taboo topic,
Yes.
and I guess you're right. I mean, just having to confront it and face it, it's
Yeah.
like you're encouraging everybody almost to face up to your fears. You think?
Yes, that's what I hope. And it's something very real, I would say, because everyone has to confront death in one way or another.
Yep, it's the only certain thing about life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you hope to do? I mean, this is obviously quite a high point for you in your career, right?
Yeah.
I mean, offerings, this exhibition. What are your hopes and plans after this?
There are many more Chinese cultures and that I can explore on many aspects. This is only one tiny aspect. There are many other concepts that I can come up with, and I hope that I can do more. Either it be an exhibition, a book, an e-book, I don't know, or film.
Yeah.
I'm doing fashion films as well.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, so it's very interesting how you can see it presented in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah, if you do it the normal way, people are like, okay, I've seen it before. But like now, I present it in a fashion way. It looks like a fashion glossy. At one glance, it looks like it could be off a fashion spread from a fashion magazine. But if you read the synopsis, hey, it is not. She's not wearing a stitch of fabric. They're all wearing incense paper. Then you need to sit and think, why is she wearing that? Yeah.
Wow, very powerful. I mean, obviously, for you, even the whole process of creating something like
Yes.
that. I mean, you obviously want to preserve a lot of your heritage, right? A lot of
Yes.
Chinese traditions.
Yes.
And are you afraid that we will lose this aspect of our tradition?
Definitely. We are really losing a lot, actually. And then you get a lot of questions like, how Chinese are we? And what do you mean by Chinese? As in Chinese Singaporean? How Chinese are we? And which part are we preserving? Which part should not preserve? Yeah.
And I think also what is interesting, I mean, Singapore is like a melting pot of different cultures.
Exactly.
But it's also for different cultures to understand.
Yes.
Right? And in the same way, when you go, let's say for Thaipusam, or you also, where the Indians celebrate, it's also for us to understand like why it's so important. And I think in the same way, all of us want to leave a bit, and you know how when you lose that culture is when you lose civilization in that sense, because that's what holds us together, our culture, our heritage, our shared history almost, right?
Yes.
I love this exhibition. Now, I mean, just before we end, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, for somebody who is listening in who perhaps could be up and coming photographer or interested in photography, I mean, actually everybody photographs kind of...
Everyone is a photographer right now.
Exactly. Photographs are kind of a huge part of our daily life, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's... But just maybe let's start as a profession, right? If you're an upcoming photographer, someone is up, what is the advice that you have for them?
Go for the feel. The picture must say something. It must be emotive. It cannot be a technical picture only. A lot of people are so bogged down by technicalities. I think you need to know the basics and the technicalities of it, but break the rules. And it must be emotive.
Look beyond your comfort zone,
Yes.
right? And beyond what you read in a book.
You must know what you're trying to say.
So the message behind your photo is important.
Very important.
And I mean, obviously, it takes years of experience to create something like that. But is it like a thought process? Is it a lot of research? How do you get that, like you say, achieve that feel and that message? What goes into it?
First of all, of course, you have to do research on what you want to do, and then you pull up test sheets and look for the treatment. The treatment is not a copy, but you marry. For example, I marry Cubism versus Metropolis. You blend it together. Metropolis is a black and white film, but you don't do black and white. Cubism is the shapes, but you do it in full color. So that becomes your style. And then does it apply to what you're trying to say? It does, because of the paper folding. So I would say think through. You must know the theme. What is the concept? It must make sense to begin with. You cannot think of something that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Okay, and then of course work with the team and respect everyone on the team.
Of course.
As well.
For this was very good, because I said, now look here. This is the incense paper. Look at it. See what can you do. The hairstylist say, hey, I see gold. How about we do gold for on the hair? I said, yeah, why not? And then the makeup artist say, hey, you really got to go for, let's not fight for attention. Let's tone down our face a little bit. I agree. You see, if everyone comes together and everyone wants to have their work to be, how should I say?
The best, right?
Yeah, and then the whole thing will look too much. There is no balance. So everyone must, look at the whole picture and say, now look here, I need to pull back this a little bit. Because that hair is so strong, the makeup needs to tone down a little bit.
So it's like a collaborative effort, but with no ego, right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's like, I want the best for the product, for the picture,
exactly.
for the image.
Exactly.
And this is the best,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
Now, you, I mean, it's like we just talked about the fact that also pictures are in our everyday lives now. Everybody is always taking a selfie or a wefie or what do you have like advice for the everyday photographer like myself? I mean, in terms of like taking selfies or pictures with your friends, or what advice do you have?
To me, the lighting is the most important. Right now, the technology, you can't really change lighting. I'm not sure about in future, but if you shoot it, make sure the light is right first, because you can't really correct it in post-production. You can correct other things.
Yeah, filters are just not the same.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? If you shoot it the correct light, right, you're almost, I would say, 80% done, and you just do a little bit of a contrast adjustment. Yeah, you'll be fine. But if you shoot it like the light is wrong, it's very difficult to correct.
Okay. Yeah. So light.
Yes, to me it's a light, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Wai Teik. Now, this is a question that we ask to everybody on the show, so I'm going to ask you as well. What is empowerment to you?
Very deep question. I would say empowerment is a power for me to be able to do what makes me happy without harming or compromising anybody.
I like that. That's very profound and very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, thank you so much, Wai Teik. Very inspiring to talk to you about your work. It's been a long time. Nice to catch up also.
Yes.
And of course, for all of you out there in Singapore, or if you're visiting Singapore, Wai Teik is now having his exhibition, a photography series by Wai Teik. It's called Offerings. And again, it's won the Bronze Award at the One Island Photography Awards in 2015. It's going on now at the Gillman Barracks from the 5th to the 29th of April in 2018. So if you're in Singapore, if you have some time and you want to learn a little bit more about Chinese heritage, about Qing Ming, and look at very strong fashion photography at the same time, please drop by the Gillman Barracks from the 5th to the 29th of April 2018. Also, please subscribe to our podcast. You can also leave a comment or find out more about us on facebook.com/WomenTalkTV, or you can check out our other podcasts at womentalk.com/WT Radio. My name is EUNICE Olsen, and I really want to thank our very special guest, Wai Teik, for being with us in the studio today.